The Four: The Hidden DNA of Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google by Scott Galloway. Picture this. Somewhere out there, a company knows things about you that would make your mother blush. And there's another one that people defend with the kind of fervor usually reserved for their favorite sports team, or, well, their religion. Sound like a Black Mirror episode? Nope, it's just Tuesday in 2024. Rewind to 2015, San Bernardino, California. A terrorist attack shakes the nation, and the FBI recovers the shooter's iPhone. One problem: it's locked tighter than Fort Knox. So they march up to Apple with a court order that basically says, hey, can you unlock this for us, national security and all that? Seems reasonable, right? But Apple says no. Not just no, but absolutely not. They argue that creating a digital master key would be like handing out skeleton keys to every house in America. And here's where it gets wild. Millions of people lose their minds defending Apple. We're talking hate mail, internet flame wars, passionate essays, young, educated, influential folks treating this like Apple was some kind of digital freedom fighter. Now here's the million-dollar question. What if that phone had been literally anything else? A Samsung? A Google Pixel? A Nokia brick from 2003? Would anyone have cared nearly as much? Probably not. So what makes Apple so special that people are willing to go to war for a corporation? That question is exactly what Scott Galloway tackles in his brilliantly provocative book, The Four. He argues that four companies, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google, have transcended mere business status. They've become something else entirely. Modern deities, if you will, shaping not just our shopping habits or social lives, but our deepest desires and our entire worldview. Over the next hour, we're going behind the curtain of these tech titans. This isn't some dry business school lecture. Think of it more as a survival guide for navigating the modern world. By the time we're done, you won't just look at these companies differently. You'll understand the secret sauce they use to basically take over the world, and more importantly, how you can thrive in the reality they've created. This is about understanding power in the digital age, and it all starts with something way more primal than you'd expect. Here's the thing about understanding these tech giants. Everything you think you know about business success, throw it out the window. It's not really about having the smartest engineers or the most revolutionary technology. Scott Galloway argues that each of these companies, which he playfully calls the Four Horsemen, and yes, the apocalypse reference is intentional, figured out how to hack into something way more fundamental: our caveman brains. Think of yourself as having three command centers: your brain, your heart, and, let's call it, your survival instinct. The part of you focused on staying alive and looking good while doing it. Your brain is the spreadsheet guy. It compares prices, calculates value, and wants the best deal possible. Your heart is the romantic. It wants to belong, to connect, to feel loved, and part of something bigger. And that third part, it's all about survival and reproduction. It wants you to look successful, feel powerful, and basically be attractive to potential mates. It's also the part that reaches for something transcendent, something perfect. The Four Horsemen didn't just build better mousetraps. They became absolute wizards at appealing to one of these three centers, completely bypassing your rational defenses and going straight for your psychological jugular. Let's start with the one that speaks directly to our inner caveman, the one obsessed with gathering resources and surviving the winter. Amazon, the god of more stuff, less effort. For 90% of human history, we were basically just trying not to starve. Our entire existence boiled down to a simple equation: get more calories than you burn. We developed this deep, primal urge to accumulate resources as efficiently as possible. It's why you feel weirdly satisfied buying things in bulk, even when you don't really need them. And nobody, and I mean nobody, understands this instinct better than Amazon. When Jeff Bezos launched Amazon in 1994, he wasn't thinking small. His pitch was beautifully simple: Create Earth's biggest store. It's such a compelling vision that investors have been throwing money at him for over 2 decades, even when the profit margins look, well, questionable. Here's Amazon's superpower. While most companies tell investors, give us money and we'll give you profits, Amazon said, give us money and we'll reinvest every penny into growing bigger until we're basically the only store you'll ever need. And Wall Street ate it up. Imagine 2 people playing poker. One has $100, the other has 10,000. Who's going to win? Even if the first player is smarter and gets better cards sometimes, the person with the massive chip stack can afford to lose hands, take crazy risks, and just outlast everyone else. That's Amazon's entire strategy. They've used this flood of investor cash to build an empire of convenience. Warehouses run by robots that look like something out of a sci-fi movie. Their own fleet of planes. Thousands of trucks. All designed for one purpose: to eliminate every possible barrier between you wanting something and you having that something. Let's be honest, shopping for toothpaste isn't exactly thrilling. It's a chore. Amazon makes that chore vanish. No driving, no parking nightmares, no standing in line behind someone arguing about expired coupons. Just click. Galloway points out something fascinating. Most digital success doesn't come from adding cool features. It comes from removing annoying steps. Amazon is the undisputed champion of friction removal. They're speaking to that ancient part of your brain that remembers when winter meant potential starvation, when having extra resources could literally mean the difference between life and death. Amazon whispers, more stuff, easier, you'll be safer, you'll be prepared. But here's the dark side. Amazon's growth is a zero-sum game. Retail isn't exactly booming, so every $1 billion Amazon grows means jobs disappearing at places like Macy's, Sears, and JCPenney. Galloway tells this chilling story about Bezos buying Kiva Systems, a warehouse robotics company. The message was clear. The future of retail is dark warehouses full of robots silently picking your orders. Bezos has even suggested we might need universal basic income because there simply won't be enough jobs to go around. It's a pretty stark vision. But Amazon isn't just trying to sell you everything. They want to own the entire infrastructure of commerce, the warehouses, the trucks, the drones. Once they own the pipes, every other company has to pay them a toll just to reach customers. This is how a company with razor-thin profit margins could become the first trillion-dollar company. It's not about selling things. It's about controlling the entire system of how things get sold. The ultimate appeal to our gathering instinct. Apple, the god of beautiful, desirable things. Now, if Amazon conquered the brain, Apple went for something more ethereal, more emotional, more spiritual. Here's Galloway's provocative claim. Apple isn't a tech company, it's a luxury brand. And it succeeds by tapping into 2 primal needs. Our desire to experience perfection, which feels almost divine, and our need to be attractive and signal our success. Sounds crazy? Think about it. What is luxury really? For centuries, we've associated perfect craftsmanship and breathtaking beauty with the divine. Walking into a magnificent cathedral overwhelms you with its beauty. It feels sacred. Luxury brands recreate that feeling. They offer a taste of perfection in our messy, imperfect world. At the same time, luxury is a mating signal. It's the human version of a peacock's tail. Driving a Porsche or wearing a Rolex doesn't make rational sense from a transportation or timekeeping perspective, but it broadcasts a powerful message. I'm successful. I have resources. I'm a good provider. Steve Jobs got this instinctively. From day one, Apple products were designed to be beautiful. But the real transformation happened when Jobs returned in the late 90s. He realized that to command premium prices, Apple had to stop competing on specs and start competing on desire. He moved Apple's appeal from the brain to the heart and, well, below the belt. The genius move was the Apple Store. When everyone said physical retail was dying, Jobs did the opposite. He built these beautiful, minimalist temples to the brand. Apple stores aren't just places to buy gadgets. They're experiences. They make you feel like you're joining an exclusive club. They're designed like churches of technology. Walk down Fifth Avenue in New York, and you'll see Cartier, Tiffany, Louis Vuitton, and Apple. It fits right in. And the products themselves became icons. The glossy white iPod. The revolutionary iPhone. These weren't just gadgets. They were status symbols. Owning an iPhone signals that you're part of the innovation class. Wealthy, educated, sharing Western values. It signals you're closer to perfection. This is why Apple can have only 15% of the global smartphone market but capture nearly 80% of the profits. It's like being Ferrari but selling as many cars as Toyota. It shouldn't be possible, but Apple pulled it off. Galloway breaks down the luxury playbook Apple mastered. First, an iconic founder. Steve Jobs became the messianic figure of the tech world. A visionary genius whose story is modern mythology. Even though he was famously difficult, and that's putting it mildly, his legend elevates the brand. Second, artisanship. Apple obsesses over simplicity and perfection. Their products feel inevitable, like there could be no other rational design. As one former Apple VP said, attractive things work better. Third, vertical integration. Apple controls everything, from chip design to software to the stores. This control maintains their premium image. Fourth, global reach. Luxury speaks a universal language. The global elite from New York to Shanghai want the same things, and Apple delivers. Fifth, premium pricing. High prices aren't a bug, they're a feature. They signal quality and exclusivity. The high price of an iPhone is part of what makes it desirable. By becoming a luxury brand, Apple did something almost no tech company manages. It has a shot at being timeless. Tech companies usually age like dogs, fast and brutal. There's always a younger, faster competitor ready to take your crown. But luxury brands can last centuries. Chanel will probably outlive Cisco. Gucci will likely be around long after Google is a Wikipedia entry. Of all the four horsemen, Galloway thinks Apple has the best chance of surviving into the next century. It's inoculated itself against the brutal pace of technology by appealing to something ancient and powerful, our desire for beauty and our drive to signal our status as desirable mates. Facebook, the god of love and surveillance. So we've covered the brain and our basic survival instincts, but what about the heart? What about our need for connection and love? Enter the third horseman, Facebook. If you measure success by sheer reach, Facebook might be the most successful thing humans have ever created. More people interact with Facebook daily than there are Catholics in the world or citizens in China. Let that sink in. People spend an average of 50 minutes a day on Facebook and its properties, Instagram and WhatsApp. That's more time than we spend on almost anything except work, sleep, and hanging out with family. Why? Because Facebook tapped into one of the most powerful forces in human existence: our need to love and be loved. There's this famous Harvard study that followed people for 75 years, and the conclusion was beautifully simple. The single strongest predictor of human happiness is the depth and quality of our relationships. As the study's director put it, happiness is love, full stop. Facebook, at its best, is a platform for love. It lets us reconnect with old friends, stay close to distant family, share in life's joyful moments, new babies, weddings, accomplishments. Every time we get a like on a post, our brain gets a tiny hit of dopamine. It feels good to be seen, acknowledged, loved. The platform has become the connective tissue for a quarter of humanity. Galloway even argues that the explosion of images on social media might be making the world more peaceful because it's harder to hate people you feel connected to. But here's the twist. The side Facebook shows us is the bait. We're not the customers, we're the product. Facebook is the most sophisticated surveillance machine ever created. and we invited it into our lives with open arms. We voluntarily tell it who our friends are, where we went to school, what movies we like, where we're vacationing, what we're thinking right now. We feed this machine a constant stream of personal data, and Facebook's algorithm, its artificial intelligence, gets smarter with every click, every like, every share. This creates what Galloway calls a Benjamin Button product, something that ages in reverse. Unlike your shoes, which lose value as you wear them, Facebook becomes more valuable the more people use it. Every new user and every piece of data makes the network more powerful and more valuable to advertisers. Because that's Facebook's real business, advertising. But unlike any advertising platform that's ever existed, historically, advertising was a trade-off between scale and targeting. You could advertise during the Super Bowl and reach 100 million people, but most aren't your target customer. Or you could host an intimate dinner for 10 potential clients with perfect targeting, but it doesn't scale. Facebook offers both. It has Super Bowl scale, but can target with terrifying precision. An advertiser can say, "Show this ad to 28-year-old women in San Diego who are engaged, love hiking, and have recently shown interest in buying a new car." And Facebook delivers that exact audience instantly. It knows this because it's watching everything. When you have the Facebook app on your phone, Galloway says, it's listening. It can pick up ambient noise and figure out what TV show you're watching or what people around you are discussing. It knows you better than your best friend. One study found that with just 150 likes, Facebook's model could predict your personality better than your spouse. With 300 likes, it understood you better than you understood yourself. This power lets Facebook wage war on competitors. It bought Instagram for $1 billion, an acquisition that seemed insane at the time, but now looks like one of the greatest deals in business history. And it's in a battle to destroy Snapchat by simply copying every feature they create and using Facebook's massive scale to crush them. Facebook is like a python swallowing prey. For a while it takes the shape of what it consumed, but after digestion the snake is just bigger and more dangerous. Together with our final horseman, Facebook is creating a duopoly that's devouring the entire media landscape. Google, the god of knowledge. For most of human history, when we had a question from trivial to profound, we looked up, we prayed. We asked a higher power for answers, guidance, reassurance. Today, when we have a question, we don't look up, we look down at a screen. Google, Galloway argues, has become the god of the digital age. Think about the attributes we associate with God: all-knowing, all-seeing, someone you can turn to with your deepest questions and darkest secrets without fear of judgment. A source of ultimate truth. That's Google. We confess things to Google we'd never tell our priest, doctor, or spouse. We ask about weird medical symptoms, secret anxieties, hidden desires. The trust we place in it is unrivaled. About 1 in every 6 queries typed into Google has never been asked before. What priest, rabbi, or scholar has ever been trusted with that many original questions from every corner of humanity? And Google answers. 3.5 billion times a day, it delivers answers in a fraction of a second. Here is the knowledge you seek. Go and live a better life. This trust is the foundation of Google's empire. They built it on one brilliant insight: separating search results from advertisements. The organic results are based purely on relevance, not who paid the most. This created a feeling of impartiality, of truth. Google felt like it had no agenda, just like a benevolent deity. Of course, Google does have an agenda, making ungodly amounts of money. It does this by auctioning ad space next to those truthful results. It gives us what we want on one side of the page and sells our intentions to the highest bidder on the other. It's brilliant. Like the other horsemen, Google's product ages in reverse. Every search teaches the algorithm something, making it smarter for everyone. With billions of people querying it daily, Google's intelligence grows exponentially. This has allowed it to become what Galloway calls a quote, like the future-seeing characters in Minority Report, Our search history reveals our intentions. Before people commit crimes, they often Google suspicious things. Google knows what we're thinking about doing before we do it. But Google's power has been destructive too. Galloway shares a story from his time on the New York Times board. He watched in frustration as the newspaper allowed Google to crawl its content for free. The Times thought it was symbiotic. Google sent them traffic. But Galloway saw the truth. They were exchanging dollars for dimes. Google was using the Times' expensive, high-quality journalism to build its own empire, learning exactly what Times readers wanted, and selling that intelligence to advertisers with far more precision than the Times could. The newspaper became a tenant farmer on Google's land. Google didn't just organize the world's information, it seized control of it. And along with Facebook, it siphoned almost all profits out of the media industry. In 2016, all digital advertising revenue growth in the United States went to just two companies, Google and Facebook. Actually, 103%, meaning the rest of the entire digital media industry combined, actually shrank. This is the power of the duopoly. They've become the gatekeepers to information and attention, and every other media company is fighting for scraps. The T algorithm, the recipe for a trillion-dollar company. So these are the four horsemen: Amazon, the god of consumption; Apple, the god of luxury and desire; Facebook, the god of connection; and Google, the god of knowledge. They've accumulated more power and influence than any entities in history. But how? And what would it take for a new company to join this club? Galloway believes he's cracked the code. He calls it the T algorithm. 8 ingredients you need for a shot at becoming a trillion-dollar company. First, product differentiation. In the digital age, the best product often wins. You need something genuinely better, usually because it removes friction. Second, visionary capital. You need a bold story that captures investors' imagination and gives you access to cheap capital for the long game. Third, global reach. Your product has to leap borders easily. Think globally from day one. Fourth, likability. Companies are like people. If they're likable, they get away with more. The four have mastered appearing cool, progressive, and good for the world, helping them avoid regulation. Fifth, vertical integration. Control the entire customer experience. All four horsemen own their distribution. Sixth, artificial intelligence and data. Master data. Use AI to learn constantly, creating products that improve with every use. Seventh, career accelerant. Be seen as a place where talented people launch stratospheric careers. This creates a cycle where the best want to work for you. Eighth, geography. Be near a world-class engineering university. Talent is the raw material of the digital age, and talent concentrates in cities near great schools. This is the playbook for modern dominance. Galloway uses it to evaluate potential new horsemen. Alibaba, the Chinese e-commerce giant that's even bigger than Amazon by some measures, but faces challenges with its brand and government relationship. Tesla, which he believes is a massive contender. It's not just an electric car company, it's a luxury brand that hits customers emotionally. It has a visionary leader in Elon Musk and is mastering the algorithm. Uber, a company with a brilliant friction-removing product, but plagued by likability issues, and a business model that creates thousands of lords and millions of serfs. The game isn't over. The four are powerful, but no empire lasts forever. Their greatest threat isn't a new competitor, it's each other. They're colliding in search, cloud computing, autonomous vehicles, in an epic race to become the single operating system for our lives. Thriving in the age of the four. But what does this mean for regular people, for your career and future? This is where Galloway's message becomes personal and powerful. We're living in an insecurity economy, he argues. The rise of the four has created a winner-take-all world. It's never been a better time to be exceptional, and it's never been a worse time to be average. Technology has connected all the ponds into one big ocean. If you're a big fish, life is great. But if you're just a good fish, You're now competing with every other good fish on the planet. The difference in skill between good and great might be only 10%, but the difference in rewards is more like 10 times or 100 times. So how do you become great? How do you thrive in the age of the 4? Galloway offers powerful, unsentimental advice. First, go to college and try to get into the best one possible. In America, college is the new caste system. A degree from a prestigious school is the clearest signal you can send. It's a brand that opens doors for life. Second, get to a city. The myth that technology lets us work from a mountain cabin is just that, a myth. The opposite happened. Wealth, power, and opportunity are concentrating in a handful of supercities. Innovation happens when ideas collide, and that happens in person. Third, and this is one of his most famous pieces of advice, don't follow your passion, follow your talent. People who tell you to follow your passion are already rich, he says. Instead, figure out what you're good at and commit to becoming great at it. You don't have to love it initially. But if you become one of the best in the world at something, the recognition, compensation, and opportunities will make you start to love it. The best tax accountants on the planet fly first class and marry people more attractive than them. 2 things they're probably passionate about. Emotional maturity is more important than ever. In a world of constant change, people who stay poised under stress, work well with others, and adapt will win. And finally, accept that balance is a myth, at least early in your career. The first 5 to 10 years after graduation set your trajectory. If you want that trajectory to be steep, you have to burn fuel. It's not about killing yourself forever, but about intense early effort to build a foundation for a life with choices later. It's a challenging message, but it's empowering. The world has been reshaped by these 4 companies. They've created enormous value, but also immense disruption. They're not benevolent. They're for-profit entities that will avoid taxes, invade privacy, and destroy jobs to increase their power. They're not going to take care of us. Governments are struggling to keep up, so it's on us. It's on you. The path forward isn't to fight them or worship them. It's to understand them. Understand the game they're playing, and use that knowledge to build your own economic security. The 4 horsemen may seem like gods, but they're not your gods. The world they've created isn't a spectator sport. It's a call to action, a call to be exceptional, a call to understand the rules of this new game and play it with everything you've got. As we wrap up Scott Galloway's The 4, it's hard not to feel both impressed and a little unsettled. This book is more than business analysis. It's a survival guide for the modern world. What strikes me most powerfully is how Galloway demystifies these giants. He strips away the corporate PR and hero worship to show them as incredibly successful, ruthlessly competitive entities that excel at manipulating our basic human drives. The central lesson is that the most powerful forces in business aren't in spreadsheets or code, but in the human heart, brain, and our deepest evolutionary instincts. Amazon isn't just a store. It's an extension of our primal gathering need. Apple isn't just a phone. It's a modern religious icon, signaling our fitness as mates. Facebook isn't just a website. It's a machine monetizing our fundamental need for love. And Google isn't just a search engine. It's the all-knowing oracle we turn to for answers. This insight changes everything. To understand the world, we have to understand ourselves. So what can you do with this knowledge, starting today? First, become a more conscious consumer. Next time you feel the urge to one-click buy on Amazon or find yourself endlessly scrolling Instagram, just pause. Ask yourself, which part of me is this appealing to? My brain, my heart, or my survival instincts? Awareness is the first step to not being controlled. It gives you power back. Second, audit your own brand. Galloway's career advice recognizes that in this new economy, you are a product. Take an honest look at your skills. What are you truly good at? Not what you're passionate about, but what's your raw talent? How can you invest in that talent to become not just good, but great? Maybe it's taking an online course, finding a mentor, or dedicating an extra hour daily to practice. The journey from average to exceptional starts with one deliberate step. Third, think like a horseman about your life. They didn't succeed by following the crowd. They succeeded by removing friction, telling compelling stories, and building deep moats that are hard to replicate. What friction can you remove from your life to be more effective? What's the simple, bold story of what you want to achieve? What skills or relationships can you build that are uniquely yours that can't be easily copied? The 4 is a wake-up call. The world runs on a new set of rules, and the sooner we learn them, the better. These companies aren't our friends, but they can be our greatest teachers. That was a summary of The 4 by Scott Galloway. We've covered the big ideas today, but let me be honest. Listening to a summary is like looking at travel photos online. You can see beautiful pictures, but you can't feel the sun on your skin or taste the local food. The real magic of a book like this happens when you read it yourself, when one of Galloway's sharp insights or irreverent observations makes you stop and see the world completely differently. This summary is your preview. If any of these ideas sparked your curiosity, I truly encourage you to pick up a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning business strategy. It's an experience that will fundamentally change how you see the digital world and your place in it. A link to the book is waiting for you in the description. Also, if you found this journey valuable, hitting that like button and subscribing would mean the world to me. That way, you won't miss our next deep dive into another game-changing book. Let's keep learning and growing together.